Hi everyone, I'm the plant propagator and welcome to my channel. Today it is a beautiful mid-October day here in Southwest Florida. The cold front, it's hard to tell. I think it came through. Not as hot as it usually is. Got a little wind. It's still humid. I thought that they were saying the humidity is going to go down. I think that may be tomorrow, but I just wanted to share, I think I have 6 orchids today that I want to share with you, all Cattleyas. And it's getting a little challenging to keep up for a few reasons. Some of my plants are getting big. And what happens when they get big is you can tell from behind me, most of my orchids are hanging. And when they get big, they're hard to hang. It's hard to find spaces for them to hang. I have a pretty small collection, small area, and there's other issues. They just get big and they spread. I don't have a space for them. The other thing is that when they do get big, I feel the need to divide them, and dividing them means I get even more plants, and so I'm finding ways to offload some of those extra plants, some of those divisions that I'm coming up with. And it's usually not too challenging to find that. But it's a lot of work to keep up with maintaining some of these large plants, but also dividing some of these plants. And I'm gonna get to some of those with you today. Some of these I've had them for a little while. Many of them I've only had for just like a year or two. But let's get going. Let's get started at things. And I'll try to, where I can, I'll try to tell you some stories. Some of them I don't have any stories on them. But I've got 6 orchids to share with you. And let's start out with this one right here. So this is, and let me get it down. This is one of those plants that it's getting kind of big. And this is Nell Hammer Golden Lady. The cultivar is Golden Lady. This was a purchase. It's RTH is the genus. This was a purchase that I made a few years ago from RF Orchids in Homestead, Florida. And the interesting thing about this is a hybrid that they generated. So they registered this hybrid. It's called Nell Hammer. A few weeks ago, Arlene, one of my Facebook friends, sent an image out that showing Nell Hammer, the person that this was named after, and I think maybe a week or 2 weeks ago, she had her 106th birthday. So here's a picture of Nell Hammer celebrating her 106th birthday. Florida resident. I think she might be in the Miami area. I've never met her, but a lot of the local orchid people know her. And apparently that's who this plant was named after by RF Orchids. This is a cultivar. It's a named hybrid that's called Golden Lady. And I looked this up. This was not an awarded plant. And normally what happens is plants get awarded and then they have a cultivar assigned to them. But this was a plant that I think was from a seed lot that RF Orchids was growing that had a little bit of an unusual coloration in the lip. So most of the Nell Hammers, they're flared, but it's usually a dark yellow flare coming out of a light yellow petals. I don't know if it's in the sepals also. But this one had a red lip on it. So I think they saw it, they found it was unique, and so they named it and cloned it. And so that's what this one is right here. This plant, I don't know if you can tell, it's getting it has to be hung because it's getting side heavy. So there's a lot of extra coming out of this side of the pot. There's a new pseudobulb coming here, a couple of new pseudobulbs here. So right now there are 4 buds on this spike. Only 2 of them are open, but there are additional spikes. So this one right here, can't count how many flowers this has. flowers in it. This one does not. This one has flowers in it that are even a little further behind here. This blooms yearly. So this is a hybrid between High-Dye Delight, which is used in a lot as a parent in a lot of hybrids. And for some reason, it's a yellow Cattleya, but for some reason it promotes flaring. The other parent on this is Varrock's Star Trek. That is, oh, right here. Well, you can't see it. So the other parent is a really interesting kind of a flared, a little bit of a flared but interesting coloration on this, and it generated this plant it's a really nice plant, incredibly vigorous, as you can tell, because it's growing out of the side of the pot. It has new leads coming out all over the place. So when this thing, I mean, this is too much. This is in a plastic pot. It's got roots, like I said, just growing all over this. So this is going to have to be repotted when it's done. And this is going to be a challenge to repot because there's roots growing over the side of the pot and attaching the pot. Even though it's a plastic pot, it should be easy to get it off. But anyway, this is RTH Nell Hammer Golden Lady. Okay, really pretty flower. Let me see. Yeah, got some fragrance on it. All right, so it checks a few of the boxes. I looked at this when I was first looking at this. I didn't see any pictures of this flower. The plants that I bought from, they were not blooming. So I looked it up and it had some really nice flaring, but I didn't realize it was going to have this this red in the lip. And I'm not sure I like. It's okay. I'm not sure I like the red in the lip, but it is unique to this specific hybrid. Okay, moving on. We'll move on to this one right here, and this is one of my newer favorites. So this is Mari's Glory, and the cultivar is Avery. I think this might be a BC. It says BLC, but I think it might be a BC, a Brasso Cattleya, Mari's Glory, Avery. And right now this plant it's doing pretty well. It's still contained in the pot, but it's growing over it soon, quickly. Right now it has 2 older flowers right here. It has 2 flowers that just opened up a couple of days ago. And then it has 4 flowers that are just breaking through the sheath. But a lot of new pseudobulbs. I can't tell if there's any flowers that are in the new pseudobulbs, but this is growing really rapidly. I've used this for my hybridizations. It's a nice, vigorous growing cat, intermediate size, not big. The flowers also are not big, but not small. There is, I think, there's nice, I like the fragrance on this. So this has, again, it's a powdery sweet. I would not even use the classical Cattleya fragrance to describe the fragrance coming from this flower. But, and the flowers themselves I really like them. It has some really nice patterns in the throat of this. The petals have they have dark purple on the outside, going to white or light purple on the inside. The sepals are a light purple. But again, the broadness and the coloration of the lip and the flatness of the flower are really nice on this plant. And then again, it's very prolific. So this is a nice Cattleya that I'm starting to use in my crosses. And I've got some hybrid seedlings in the laboratory coming from this cross, and I'm really excited about it. I didn't get a whole lot. It wasn't a very vigorous, it wasn't a very successful cross. I didn't get, tens of thousands of seedlings, but I got enough for me so that I got some, and I'm happy with it. Anyway, so this is Brasso Cattleya, Mari's Glory, Avery. Okay, moving on just a little bit to here. Okay, this is a striking and a beautiful striking Cattleya. So this is RLC Siam City. It just says #1 on it because you can find a lot of different Siam cities. This is bloom. I haven't had this for that long. I picked this up at Sundance Orchid and Bromeliads. This one, Mari's Glory, I got this from my local orchid society for, I think it was a, it might have been a bingo or a raffle. So I'm not even sure really where it came from. But this is Siam City #1 that I picked up from Sundance Orchids and Bromeliads. I've had this for a few years. I've used this successfully in some of my crosses. It does well. The previous time that this thing bloomed, the flowers were much larger. So this thing, right now it's kind of slow growing. It doesn't look great. So I think it's got to catch on after I repotted it. I think I might have had a bout of dealing with fungal disease. And so I pulled it out, cleaned it off, put it in a new pot. Let's see if I wrote on it. I didn't write on it when I repotted it. So this needs to catch on a little bit and do well. But I was really happy and surprised to see that it flowered. I'm not going to cross onto this because the plant is kind of small, I think, from what it can be. But I'm going to collect the pollinia and use it to cross onto other things. And that's what I've done previously. I have hybrids of this that are actually getting pretty large that I'm really excited about. So I crossed this with Amazing Thailand Finer Flare. And I've got some really nice looking seedlings coming from that. Again, most of the hybrids that I'm making, I haven't been doing this for that long, so my plants are small. And just so you know, a little teaser, I'm going to make a video. It's on my list of videos to make. I have a long list of videos to make showing my seedlings and the progress and how big some of them are getting. And I'm getting pretty excited about those. Anyway, back to Siam City. The flower on this plant is striking. So this has orange sepals and petals, and what makes this flower striking is the dark purple lip on the flower on this plant, and on the throat it's yellow. So this is one of those that's striking because of the contrast of the lip with the sepals and petals. It's a beautiful flower. Like I said, I wish it was a little bit bigger. I think that'll come with time, and I just wanted to share this hybrid with you. Okay, moving on. And I should say that all of these orchids that I'm sharing with you, they all live in my pergola. For some reason, and there's more coming, but for some reason the pergola is just loaded with blooming plants. Okay, let's move on to this one. And I should also say, so far, the two that we've looked at, they bloom at the same time every year. So these are once a year bloomers. And I say that because we're getting on this, this is RLC Volcano Pride. And this bloomed for me. This is in a 4-inch pot that is disintegrating. It's just fallen, and I have a few of these. It was a bad purchase. And I've got to get these. So I've been trying, as these things disintegrate and they're hanging, so they're being held up, and the plastic that they're being held up in is disintegrating. So I'm getting them out of here and into other pots, and that's going to have to happen to this one also pretty soon. Anyway, this is Volcano Pride, and it says, it's Volcano Pride, and then it has VQ in single quotes, which is Volcano Queen is the cultivar. So this is Volcano, and I think there may be a grower somewhere that puts Volcano on everything. That's why you see a lot of Volcano orchids. Anyway, this plant flowered. I picked this up. This was in a gift from the American Orchid Society for going to one of their semi-annual meetings. And I went a few years ago to a meeting in Coral Gables, Florida. And this was in the bag that they gave to you as gifts. But this has bloomed. This is the second bloom for me this year. So this finished up blooming, I think, around 8 months ago. I had mixed feelings about this flower, And this plant, because my take on this has Maui plum in the background, I think. And Maui plum I used to have, but it got way too big. And so I was concerned about this plant getting too big. So the next pseudobulb that came up, it's about the same height. So I don't know if this, but it's in a small pot. I don't know if this plant is going to get any bigger than this. And if it stays this size, I'm good with it. This plant, the intensity of the color in the sepals and petals is great. This is, I would call this, and I've seen this descriptor used as crystalline. It's a really nice, thick petals and sepals, almost what you would expect if it was tetraploid. I don't know if it is or not. I have not used it for any of my crosses yet, but this is just, it's a nice flower. So anyway, the sepals and petals have like this maroon purple coloration, but then the lip has some striping, some dark striping, and some lighter colors in the lip. The fragrance right now, previously when it bloomed, there was good fragrance. This time when it's blooming, there's not much fragrance. These flowers opened up a couple of days ago. Maybe in a little bit longer, they'll establish some fragrance, but this is a plant that I think I'm going to start using in my crosses, that I need to put in a bigger pot just because it is, I mean, it's fallen, it's growing. You know, the pseudobulb that's blooming is on the outside of the pot now. And so this thing does need to be, and I'm doing this very carefully because there's lots of new roots, green tipped roots growing out of this. Anyway, this is RLC Volcano Pride Cultivar Volcano Queen. I really do like this plant. Okay, we got to move on. And I'm going to move on to one that's down here. Yikes. And this is one of my oldest seedlings. And it's been exciting. It was one of my oldest seedlings, one of my first seedlings to bloom. And I was really excited about this. This was given to me as a capsule, a seed capsule, with a label of Laelia pumila, which has now become Cattleya pumila. I entered this into some shows because it blooms a lot. I entered it in the shows, and the first time I entered it in the show, it won an award. And yay, I was all excited. The second time I entered it into a show, it was bigger, had a lot more flowers on it, and it got nothing. And what I find out is that it got disqualified because the judges all said that this is not a Cattleya pumila. And I complained about it, and I tried to see what I could do in order to validate, if I could do any kind of molecular tests on this to validate this. But what they use, what the American Orchid Society uses, is how the plant looks rather than any kind of genetic analysis to determine what it is. And the problem with that is that this, and the guy that gave it to me, he swore that it was a pumila, and he's had seedlings. I gave most of the seedlings back to him, and he had seedlings that he said look just like pumilas. But then I got this, and it's like, well, can you get a mix of different pollen that come in and pollinate, so you get a mix of different seed? And that's unlikely to happen. Anyway, this was disqualified. The flower shape wasn't quite right, but more importantly, pumilas, when they flower, you get 1 to 2 flowers per spike. And the last time I brought it in, it was disqualified, I was real happy because it was just loaded with blooms. I thought, I'm going to do well. And it had, some of the bloom spikes had 4 flowers on it. And they kind of looked at this and said, no, that's not a pumila. And right now, there's a single flower coming out on this, and there are 1, 2, 3, it looks like 5 flowers coming out on this. It looks like it's a sequential bloomer. So this is going to bloom, the next flower is going to bloom, the next one, the next one. So there may only be 1 flower open at a time, but it's going to keep on blooming. Okay, what else is unique about this plant? So this is a weird plant. The roots are growing all over the place. It's vigorous. But what's unusual about this plant, and I have an image of this, the leaves are variegated. It's unusual to have variegated Cattleyas. So this is a Cattleya where there appears to be really nice stable variegation, striping. It's kind of yellow and green striping in the leaves. Not viruses. It's not what viruses look like. I grew it from seed. The seedlings always look like this. And it's a variegated Cattleya, which is pretty unusual. It's growing well. It's blooming well. It blooms multiple times a year. I'm happy with it, but I don't know what it was or what it is, or if it's a Cattleya pumila. They're not going to tell. They're not going. The American Orchid Society is not going to agree that it is a Cattleya pumila. So I don't know. I don't know what it is. I keep on growing this plant because it's one of my, one of the first seedlings that I ever had bloom, and it's got some really striking variegation on the leaves. The flower is just not, to me, it's not very exciting. It's it was a Cattleya species. The guy that, again, gave me the capsule says he thinks he knows what it was crossed with, but I don't know. I don't know, and I don't care. I can't use it for crosses because of the unknown ancestry. So I'm just going to hold on to it because I like it, and because it's novel, because of the variegation that is really, I think, nice. One of the first things that I studied when I was an undergrad was variegation, and I looked at inducing variegation in certain types of plants. I really liked growing African violets when I was an early plant scientist, and actually my first paper is on a chloroplast mutation in radish. So we induced some mutations using a mutagen in radish and classified that mutation. So the variegation, the white, spots, speckles, and stripes in the leaves is something that I've always had an interest in. Okay, so let's move on to the last plant, I think, and that's right here. And this, as you can tell, this is a big one. This is River Quai Pink. When I first got this, and this is from RF Orchids again in Homestead, Florida. When I got this plant, and what's still on the tag, it says this is Pink Diamond times Chialin. And when I first got this hybrid was not named. But since I got this, and I've had this for a long time, and this is, I don't know if you can tell, this is a big pot, and there are lots of flowers on this plant. And what I'm going to tell you is that there are more flowers coming out on this. So this plant's loaded. I've used this in some of my crosses. This is a big, floofy, colorful, vigorous Cattleya. This and fragrance. I'm standing here. Oh my God! Classical Cattleya fragrance, very intense. It's got Chialin in the background, so it smells like Chialin. The Chialin's over on the fence over there. But this is a great plant, and it's getting big and it's heavy, and I think I'm going to have to divide this pretty soon. Right now there are 5-7 flowers open on this plant. In addition to those 7 flowers being, this is kind of hard to hold up. There's 2 that are close to open here. There are 1. I don't think there's anything in that sheath. Nothing in that one. I thought I saw, there's 1. Okay, there's something there. 2, 3, 4 more sheaths that have flowers in them. So this is going to be blooming for a long time. This is a big plant. It's heavy. There's a lot going on here. Checks all of the boxes on this. I mean, it's just, this is a good big, vigorous plant. It's not really high. And it is kind of, if you look at it, it is relatively self-contained. It's just getting big, and I just got to take care of it. What happened is, this is on a wire hanger, and this is hanging right up here in my pergola. And when I pulled it down last time and I put it up there, put it back, when I was looking at it and put it back, the hook, this hook right here that's on the hanger, it unfolded because this plant is so heavy. And so what I have is I took a really heavy wire, and I kind of tried to wrap the hook, the existing hook, around this other hook, and now it can hold it. So now this hook can hold it, but it unbent the hook because this thing is so heavy. There's a lot of weight associated with it. I'm looking down here, and it's also got, it's got some new pseudobulbs, new growth coming out of it, but I'm not sure if I'm going to use this. I mean, it can support certainly a few capsules. So I may try to make a pollination once those capsules, and I'll probably make a few pollinations because I got so many flowers on it, such a big plant. But once those capsules are mature, this thing, that hurts. This thing is going to have to be repotted. All right, so again, this is RLC River Quai Pink. This is in a huge, floofy Cattleya that is just, almost got away from me. That is just loaded with right now, 7 flowers on it, many more coming, and we'll see what it looks like. And this, I should also say, this blooms once a year, this time of the year now, so it blooms this time of the year. Okay, that's all I have for you today. I'm sorry, lots of Cattleyas. I might have gone a little bit too long. I hope you enjoyed today's video. If you did, and you want to keep on seeing them, it would help me out if you can click on like, share, and subscribe to my channel if you're not already a subscriber. All right, more blooms coming. There's some, I'm watching up there. There's some more things that I'll get to you soon. It's an exciting time, but it's also a little work. All right, that's all I have for you today. Again, I hope you enjoyed it, and happy propagating.